Welcome back, family. This is Unburdened, and I'm your host, Consuela, aka Connie. If you tuned into the first episode, you know that this is a space about honesty, healing, and growth, especially for those of us who are carrying childhood wounds while trying to parent, love, and just live differently. In today's episode, I guess you can call this breaking cycles and finding myself. I do want to take you just a little bit deeper into my journey, but I also want to give you something that you can hold on to for your own healing walk. And so it was brought to my attention that I should make a disclaimer. I am not a licensed therapist. I am just a person who has been through some ish. Okay? And majority of the people that will eventually come onto this podcast are also other people who has been through some ish. Okay? And we're just trying to point people in a different direction because you know how we can be some stubborn individuals, and no matter how much our parents may tell us not to do so and so, we typically do it anyway. So maybe hearing the story or the voice of another person can bring on some healing. Maybe it'll redirect your path. And so, yeah, let's rock out. So for me, myself, my personal journey, I'm not going to go into full details just yet. You guys have to stick around a little bit longer, okay? I'm not going to give you all, and then, then I'll just be out here. But I did grow up feeling like I had to be very strong before I even knew who I was. I grew up where certain situations made me feel as if I could not speak out. Now, this is absolutely no shade to my mother, because I know she's listening to this podcast. And sometimes when you are a parent, you solely think in parent mode. However, let's bring this in and let's think this through on a person. For me, it's a woman to woman mode. For any man that's listening, let's think of it as on a male's perspective. So my perspective as a child was, if I were to say anything, that I would be taken away from what I loved so much. I did have some SA in my childhood. I think those are the terms that I can use to safely get this podcast through the platforms that needs to be gotten through. So from my understanding, my first was documented around the age of 4. And then it kind of progressed the older I got with different people of my family. I can say that. This specific side of my family, I enjoyed being around so much. Not the people who were doing it, obviously, but I enjoyed being around my grandmother. She was and still is the light of a lot of things for me. But within that, knowing that I could be taken away from that situation, I can be pulled away from her home because my mama, she won't trying to have that. I decided that I was going to stay silent from a very young age. And a lot of times we as a child, we don't say anything. You may have gotten threatened. I was threatened as a child. So I didn't say a lot of stuff. One, because obviously I didn't want to leave my grandmother. But two, I was getting threats. Like, I can laugh about it now, but I vividly remember somebody stating that they were going to shoot me with a BB gun. Proceeded to shoot me with the BB gun. And I was like, this hurts. But that created a space where I didn't always feel safe. And I started to view myself as someone else's property. I thought my value was more or less in how much I could carry for anybody else. How many secrets can I hold? And even in my adult relationships, sometimes I've noticed that I've slipped right back into that same pattern. Being the nurturer, the fixer, the one who puts her needs last. And when I finally said enough, I feel guilty. I ask myself, am I selfish? Am I breaking my family? Is this what it feels like to choose you? And I guess that's the thing about breaking cycles. Knowing what I've been through and what I had to endure, I knew that it wasn't just my story. I've talked to so many different people, men and women, who have had similar stories. And you know what? It blows my mind every time because it doesn't start with them. This is things that has happened in generations. Like, it was me. Before me, it was my parents. Before my parents, it was their parents. And this was the cycle that I said it was going to stop with me. I was going to be the last person that felt like somebody took something from me and I didn't know how to get it back. And I guess that is the thing about breaking cycles. It's so uncomfortable. It feels unnatural. And I guess it's because it goes against everything you've been trained to believe about love and loyalty. And if there is a community of people out there and my story resonates with you and it took you into your adulthood, or maybe not even adulthood, maybe it was like your teenage years before you even said anything, I know it so well, and you probably didn't because you had strong love and you wanted to be loyal and you didn't want to cause other people problems. I know I'm not the only one who felt that. So let me talk to you directly. If you ever carried more than you were meant to, if you've ever felt like your voice didn't matter, or if you've been scared that setting boundaries means losing love, I see you. The truth about healing and creating boundaries is boundaries and healing will never push the right people away. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Boundaries and healing will never push the right people away. They protect your peace. If someone only loves you for what you give and not for who you are, that's not love. That's dependency, okay? Let's get that through our heads. Okay? So I will say this because I'm wrapping, my time, I think I have like a 13-minute time frame. So let me give you a little couple pieces of advice really quick, okay? 3 things that I have learned in this season that might help you. Check your why. Before you say yes to something, ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or out of fear that if I say no, I'll lose it? That comes for healing as well. Am I leaving this situation, or am I leaving these people to better myself, to help me? Or am I afraid to because of what they'll say or how they'll feel? The small boundaries count because, I'm going to talk about boundaries a lot because boundaries are going to play a very, very big part of your healing journey, okay? So the small boundaries count. You don't have to start with big ultimatums. Start with little things. I can't talk right now. I'll call you back tomorrow. That's still a boundary. While you are healing your inner child, there are going to be a lot of moments where you don't want to talk. You don't want to communicate, especially if it's concerning people that are still currently in your life. And that's okay. Create a boundary. Give yourself permission. You don't need anyone else to validate your healing. Choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you whole. Okay? I'm still on this journey. I don't have it all figured out. But every day I get a little lighter. And I get a little happier. And I get more peaceful. And that's honestly all I want for you too. So if today's episode touched you, take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Remind yourself, I am worthy of love that doesn't hurt. And I am enough as I am. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs it. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't mix what's next. This is Unburdened, and until next time, keep breaking cycles, keep finding yourself, and keep walking in your healing.